Today I'm coming back for part 2 of Spanish and English baby names that I love and might use. And this time around, yes, I'm pregnant. I'm 14 weeks pregnant with our third baby, and we could not be more excited. Hello lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brittany Garcia and I do videos on everything motherhood, interior design related, and homemaking. And so if it falls under any of those categories, I generally will talk about it. If you'd like to follow along my pregnancy and have some baby updates and actually possibly have some footage of my pain-free home birth, which I am striving for this time around, then you definitely want to hit the subscribe button, and I would love to have you join the fam. Without further ado, let's get into all the baby names that I've compiled, made a list, baby names that I love and might use. So some of these are some are more Hispanic, some are more English derived, and some of them are actually more classic and some are more unique. There's a few unique ones. I feel like most of them are classic, so if you like classic baby names, then you'll love this list. And I have 10 baby boy names and 10 baby girl names. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the boy names like we did last time and get right into them. I will give you the definition as far as I found on the internet for each of these names, and that way you can see if you like them too according to what the meaning of the name is. I really like to always look at a name with the meaning of the name included to see if I really like it. Even if I just like the way that a name sounds, it's usually not enough for me to pick that name. Number 1 for a boy name is Isael. Isael obviously is very Spanish sounding, pronounced Isael in Spanish. It is a Hebrew origin name. Now this is a derivative of the name Israel or Israel, so it has the same meaning in Hebrew. Is to wrestle with God. So Israel wrestled with God in the Bible, and he became the father of the nation Israel. His name used to be Jacob, and Jacob is actually on this list as well later on. But my husband really likes this name. He loves the pronunciation of it. Isael, I think, is a really nice name, but I think it's really hard to pronounce in English, and you get that like American twang to it if you don't live somewhere where they speak Spanish. So I don't know that we would use this name, but it is a really, really pretty name. Pretty name, masculine name. Let's go with masculine. The next one on this list is actually a name that my husband really likes as well, and it's Abram. He picked both of these two names that I've just listed off, and in English it's Abram. So in Hebrew it means exalted father, and it's a very, I would say it's a very uncommon name. You don't hear this name very often in English unless it's within more traditional communities like the Amish communities, the Mennonite communities. I hear that name a lot within those people groups in America, but you hear it more often in Spanish. Abraham is a pretty common name in Spanish. While it's not as common as Jose or Juan, Abraham is, you hear it more in Spanish than you do in English. The next name, David or David, in Hebrew it means beloved. I really love the meaning of the name David. He is probably my favorite Bible character, honestly, in the Bible, in scripture. And David is just an all-around good name. It translates well into English as well. David is a known name in English. And I've found that I've leaned more towards names in both Spanish and English that have the translation because people know how to pronounce it. And that's important to me. Like, I want my kids to grow up with people saying their names correctly. With Adeline, we have, you know, when my midwife was writing her name on her birth certificate, or not her birth certificate, her birth, what do you call those things? The paper thing that they like fill out and send in to then get the birth certificate. She was telling me, you know, everybody's gonna probably pronounce her name Adeline, and I was like, I know, but I really love the pronunciation Adeline, which is more French. And so anyways, so we have had to, you know, people will ask us, or we'll correct people when they ask us what her name is, if it's Adeline or if it's Adeline, but it doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would in the beginning. So, disclaimer, I prefer names that translate well in both languages. Alberto, my husband really likes this name. I think it's a really good, well-rounded name, and I like it too because his name is Roberto. And I feel like Roberto and Alberto would be really cool father-son names because he wanted to name his first son, our first son, Roberto as well, which I'm not too keen on. I like his name and I like to call him by his name, and I feel like it would be a little weird if we had a son named Roberto Jr. But nonetheless, Alberto is a good alternative. It is of Germanic roots and it means noble, so that's really cool. The next name on my list is Anthony. Anthony is, in Spanish it would be Antonio, is the translation, and it's of Roman origins, and it means priceless one or highly praiseworthy. I really love the meaning of the name Anthony, and we might actually use that one. We'll see. We'll see if we end up having any sons, then we might use that name. This is one that my husband really loves. It is the name Joseph. So we both prefer in English the English version of Joseph over Jose, just because it sounds more unique. Jose is a very, very common name in Spanish. The meaning of the name is from Hebrew origin, and it means God will add. The next one, Jacob, or Jacob in Spanish. In Hebrew, it means supplanter. I don't love the definition of Jacob, supplanter, or deceiver. Don't love it. That's why his name was changed to Israel and everything like that in the Bible. But we likely won't use this name just simply because Roberto's little brother, his name is Jacob, and I think it would be a little weird to have a nephew named after yourself, and he's younger. My brother-in-law Jacob he's not older, he's a kid still, so we probably won't use it, but we really love the name. Joshua is the next one on my list. We both prefer the name in English over Josue. It is of Hebrew origin and it means God is deliverance. I've always loved the name Joshua. I've kind of kept that one on my list for a really long time. It was probably one of the first baby boy names that I ever thought of using, and that is because my little brother's name is Caleb, and I just think, you know, we always wanted to have, my mom wanted to have another kid, and they were possibly going to use Joshua for a second boy, and they didn't have any more kids, and so that name has kind of always been in the back of my mind, just like Bethany was always in the back of my mind, because if I had a sister, she would have been named Bethany. And so I named my first daughter Bethany, and so Joshua, who knows, we might end up using that name someday. It's been on my list for a long time. Mark is the next name. It is a name of Latin origin, and it means dedicated to Mars. Now, it's obviously a biblical name, and there are some good traits that Mark the disciple had, but it's not necessarily a name that has a good meaning in my view, because I'm a Christian. So dedicated to Mars, naming a baby that I probably wouldn't do that. But Mark is a really cool name. I do like the sound of the name, and I like how short it is and how traditional it is as well. Now, probably the only super unique name on this list is the next one, and it is the name Toby. Toby is a really cool name. I think it's a very unique boy name, and like the only person that I can think of named Toby is Toby Mac. If you're a Christian, you'll know he's a Christian artist, and the meaning of the name is Yahweh is good. And I just think that's a really cool, solid name, and it's really short, and I think it's really cute for a little boy, Toby. As you get older, I think you could like have it as a shortened name for the name Tobias, but Toby nonetheless is a really cool name, I think. Now, getting into the girl names. So this time around, we do not know if we're having a boy or a girl. I'm only 14 weeks, and obviously you usually find that out at the ultrasound anatomy, the anatomy ultrasound, sorry, I said that backwards, which is usually at 18 weeks on between like 18 to 20 weeks. And with both of my girls, we found out at 18 weeks that we were gonna have baby girls, but with Adeline, we actually didn't find out for sure if she was a girl until like October. And we actually did a confirmation ultrasound because we thought that it might have been too early and that she could have possibly been a boy, but she was not. She was a girl. And this time around, we're really leaning, this is the first time I've said this publicly, we're probably not going to find out the gender until the baby is born. Now, I'm not saying 100% because the time might come for the anatomy ultrasound and I might be like, I really want to know what the baby is. But I've talked it over with Roberto, and I actually feel a lot of excitement about not finding out what the gender is until birth. Like, I think that's so cool. And I had 2 home births with my 2 little girls, and it's just so elating to finally meet your baby, and to then add on like finding out the sex of your baby at birth. I think is really, really cool, and something you don't, like, you only get to experience that one time, you know, like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Long story short, I'm like, this is like a total tangent off of like baby girl names. We might not find out the gender this time, probably leaning more towards the side of we won't find out until the baby's born. So we don't know what the baby is. As of this point, we don't know if it's a boy or girl, but here are the girl names. Let's get right into them. Number 1, Catalina. I think this is a really cute name. On my last video, I had the name Carolina, and I really love Carolina, Carolina, I love it. In English, I don't love it as much because we have a state in the United States named Carolina, North and South. So I love it more in Spanish than English. With Catalina is just, it's so pretty. Like, it's such a feminine name, I feel. And it's from the origin, it's from Greek origin, and it means pure. Mia is the next name. Mia is just so dainty and sweet, like short and sweet, you know, and I don't know, I think that Mia would also make a really cute middle name because it's short. I really love short middle names. It also makes it less tedious to write out as you're teaching your kids to write their own names. The origin is of Hebrew origin, and it means beauty, mine, and beloved. And I love the meaning of that name. As you can tell, I'm kind of partial to it. And there's actually, so from The Princess Diaries, if you watched that movie, which if you're my age, you would know what The Princess Diaries is, Mia. You know who Mia is. Number 3, Celeste. Celeste is probably mine and Roberto's favorite name on this list. It is of Latin origin, and it means heavenly and celestial. I think it's just so beautiful. It's very unique, but it's obviously Hispanic origin, and it's just pretty. It's a very, very elegant name, I think. Number 4, Yesenia. Yesenia means palm tree, or in Arab it means floral. I think it's a unique name. I haven't heard it very often in Spanish either. Yesenia, it's just pretty, and it starts with a Y. You don't see very many names that start with a Y very often. Adela. Adela is a really cool name. It's obviously everybody knows Adele, but it's the Spanish version. It's of Germanic roots though, and it means noble or serene. We probably won't use this name because we have Adeline, and I feel like it's really, really too close to add Adela to be able to use Adela. But if we hadn't named her that, this name would probably stay on my list. Luna. Luna is so cute. I just feel like it's the cutest baby girl name, like for a tiny baby. Luna also would be a really cool name for a grown woman, and it's of Latin origin, and it means moon. Emily. Emily is such a pretty name. I knew a little girl named Emily when I lived in France for a little bit, and pronounced in French, it's beautiful. It's Amélie, and I feel like it could go either way. It's probably leaning a little bit more English you know, origins, because the roots are Germanic. Germanic names tend to lean more into the English just because of the way languages are structured. If you can't tell, I love the roots of names. I love languages. I love like learning about roots of words and stuff. But Emily means work. Of all things, it means work. So I suppose if you named a little girl Emily, she would have a really good, strong work ethic. Penelope. Isn't Penelope such a cute name? I feel like it's the daintiest, cutest, like almost cartoonesque name that you could name a baby. Penelope. Just so sweet. It almost seems like fairy tale like to me. It is a Greek origin and it means weaver. So that is really cool. I had no idea that name meant that. Everly. I really love this name. Everly is from English origins and it means from the boar meadow. Interesting meaning of the name, but one of the reasons why I love the name Everly is because my middle name is Lee. I'm Brittany Lee, and I feel like Everly is just like a really pretty continuation of the tradition that I mentioned in my last video of how me and my girl cousins all have names that end in an E sound. And I continued the tradition with Bethany and Adeline, and my cousin continued it with her daughter. Her name has an E sound, and so I feel like it's only fitting that we continue with all the girls. But Everly is a very pretty name. I feel like it's very elegant as well, and playful. Elegant and playful. And the final name on my list is such a pretty name. I feel like it's very French. I feel like I know that I've heard this name in France before, and it's Elodie, or Elodie in French. And it is a French and oh, well, obviously it's a French name. It has a French roots. So French and Greek, and it means Elodia, which is, the translation of that is foreign riches. Riches? I said that really weird. Foreign riches. So that is a roundup of 20 names in Spanish origin, English origin, obviously, or Spanish and English, but with like different origins like Greek and Latin and everything. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you haven't seen my other baby names video, I will link it here, and as well as my stories on my pain-free childbirth. I would love to share that with you, and if you're having a baby sometime soon, which you probably are because you're watching this video, I would highly encourage you to watch that story, because I just love to encourage women that you can have a pain-free childbirth. Mine were home births. They don't necessarily have to be home births for them to be painless, but I've experienced it. I had one birth that was very painful and one that was practically painless. So go ahead and watch that video. Stay tuned for all of the baby videos and pregnancy updates, as well as my future birth video. We'll see how much of footage I get of that. The plan is to film most of that, obviously nothing graphic, but would love to share the process with you guys. And thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. It means a lot to me that you're here, and I hope to see you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and I will talk to you very soon. I upload every Wednesdays and Sundays right now. That is the schedule, and I will talk to you very soon in another video. Leave me a comment down below so we can chat. Love you guys. Bye.
Sunrise in West Virginia, sleep talking on the front porch, running barefoot to a